Hey folks, in this video I'm going to be showing you a couple of security features you can do with your WordPress to make it that little bit secure, more secure from the hackers and from those trying to get into your sites through brute force. So here we are in our WordPress dashboard. And the first thing I'm going to do, now you can do this either via an FTP client, or you can do this via your cPanel's file manager. I'm actually going to use the cPanel file manager for this. So first thing we're going to do is go across to our file manager, and here we can see our public_HTML folder where the WordPress is installed. Now the first thing we need to do is clean up a few of the files from the WordPress installation. Now these files are files that the hackers and their automated bots and their software will be looking for when they are crawling the net, and as soon as they find these files, your site is listed, and then they get to coming across to check then your URL to see how vulnerable you are, see what security features you've got in place, and to see whether they can get to access these files to view certain information like database information and other server information, which you need to keep as secure and as locked down as possible. So here we are in File Manager. The first thing we need to do is, in a default WordPress installation, we want to be removing the README HTML file, and that's from the root. At the moment we're in public_HTML. okay, so the README file, so we go up and we delete that. We also want to remove the license.txt file, so we delete that. Now if we come down here to where we have WP config, we also have a WP config sample file. Now some users will have this, some won't. It all depends on how you install WordPress. Nevertheless, if you do have a WP config sample file still in the root of your WordPress, as well as a WP config file, then you need to delete it, because this is one of the files that a lot of the automated bot software that these hackers use will be looking out for when it crawls your site. So let's get rid of that as well. And then probably one of the most important files that we want to protect is our WP config file, because this file includes our database information, and obviously right now it's in public_HTML, where it would normally be for any WordPress installation. But the problem is it's not secure here. It can be read and it can be looked at and viewed by particular software that's been created for these hackers. So what we need to do is move the WP config PHP file. Now many people don't realize that you can actually move this file outside of root, but in actual fact you can. Now if you're running a subdomain, you won't be able to do this, or if you're running WordPress multi-user, you won't be able to do it either. This only works if you're running a single install of WordPress, and that install is in the root public_HTML, or whatever the root of your server is. As long as it's in there, we can move it outside of root, basically up one level. Now obviously if you go outside of public_HTML, nothing can be read or written to. So let's basically use our move file, and you can see public_HTML here. We're going to take that out, leave the slash in place, which is going to tell the file manager that we want to go up one level. So let's move that. Let's now go up one level, and we can see there now our WP config file is outside of public_HTML, and it's out the way of prying eyes. Can't be viewed, can't be seen. Let's just check our WordPress site now and make sure it still works. So here's our WordPress site. Let's just click on a few pages, and we can still see by moving the WP config file outside of root and away from prying eyes, it still works perfectly well. So hopefully you'll do that too, because that's an important security update and it's something that will save your site from prying eyes. So let's go back into public_HTML now. The next place we're going to go to is WP admin. Now a lot of people also don't realize to remove the installation files for WordPress after they've completed the installation. This is also very important to do, because hackers can also use these files to gain access to your server. So what we need to do is we need to go down and look for install helper and install. So that's install helper.php and install.php. So we need to delete both of these, and now delete install.php, and that's now cleaned up our WP admin folder and protected that too. Let's go back up to public HTML. So that's now cleaned up all the files that we need to clean up in our WordPress folders. I next want to talk to you a little bit about user accounts. So let's go into our dashboard and let's go down to users. Now if you just ignore for a moment these extra user accounts that I have in here, these accounts here are being used for posting videos from the video swiper service, so that videos are posted at a rate of probably 200 to 300 per user per day, and by spreading them out to different user accounts, then we're basically not throwing up any red flags to user that admin is posting everything. Okay, so we're going to cover that in another video, by the way. So let's go back up to this. This is the admin account here. Now it's so easy to install your WordPress and use the username admin. Lesser is administrator, but in most cases it's admin. It's basically lazy, and I have done it myself, but it's pretty much basically opening your front door and shining a light outside and saying to the hackers, hey, come in, here's what I have, come and take what you want. Because this is the most used, and this will be a username that will be put into their software along with their password captures, and when they run through millions of password variations using admin and administrator as the username, they're going to clock your login details and use brute force to get in. So if this is the case and you have created your administrator account as admin, that's not a problem. What we need to do is go to add user. We need to then add a new user, so we're going to call this guy something a little bit more difficult. And by the way, when you're after you've created all your accounts and we're finished with this, you need to then update that user and update their display name, so that their display name is not the same as the username, and that means on the front end of your site the username is never displayed. It's always a display name, which again makes it even harder then for people to know what your username is for your administrative password. So okay, here we go, we've put a username in, so I'm going to put an email in now. Let's choose one that we haven't used already. So we're going to put our first name in, and we're going to put Dave Bananas, and then our website, not to worry about that for now, and then let's put in a nice strong password. Okay, finding it difficult to work in this heat right now. There we go, nice strong password in there. Always make sure that the password indicator shows as strong. Don't use passwords like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Definitely don't use passwords that include things like your bank account. Always try to be diverse by using uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers and special characters within a password. It may be more difficult for you to remember, but you can use things like RoboForm, which will remember all your passwords for you. But it's better than putting something simple in there and basically allowing brute force into your site. So now we've done that, we'll send the information to our email. And it's important down here under role that we choose administrator. Okay, so we need under role to choose administrator. So let's go ahead and create that new account. There we go. So here's our new admin account here. Now you notice under the original administrative account that was created when we created WordPress, you can only edit that one. But you can delete any new administrators. Well, we want to delete this admin account now because we don't want people to find us through the username admin. And that's really easy to do. We can get a delete link to show here simply by logging out. And here's the original username and password here for the user that we want to delete. So we need to get rid of that and replace it with Dyke 7840, and password's the same. And there we go. So we're back in. Let's not remember that for now. So let's go back to users. And you'll now see under the original administrative account, heck, my words have gone today. Under the admin account, we can now delete it. So what we need to do now is click on delete. And you must now remember to attribute all the posts that have been made by admin to that new username that we just created, and that was Dave Bananas. So here we go, Dave Bananas. So we want to attribute all our posts to Dave Bananas, and that's the new administrator we've just created. So let's confirm delete, and you can see now the admin username has now gone from the WordPress admin panel. That's now going to make your WordPress site much more secure if you were using admin. And now what we'll basically be doing is logging in under our new administrator, which is Dick Van Dyke 7840. You can see that the delete link has now gone from this user account, and that's WordPress basically stopping you from accidentally deleting the only administrative account that's on the system. So it's removed the delete link from that now to stop you from accidentally deleting the account. So that's how you secure the WordPress admin panel, by changing the user if you've basically used admin as the default username or something similar that was easy to hack. Now if we go just quickly into edit this user account, I want to show you here what I mean by using display name. So basically the username here will be used on the front end of the site for all posts posted by or author's name until we change that. And if you look here, nickname, okay, it will always fill that in as the admin username. So all you're doing is advertising to everyone that visits your site, hey, this is my admin username. So what we need to do here is change the nickname, and we can change that to Dave Bananas, and it would help if we could spell this. So we're now going to change the nickname there too. So our display name and our nickname are now different from our username. So let's save that. So basically now on the front end of my WordPress site, nowhere is it going to show my actual username that I log into my WP admin panel with. So you need to also do that if you want to secure your posts area a little bit more. Okay, let's now move on to our final security piece of advice that we'd like to share with you. It's a really simple, lightweight plugin, not heavy on resource, doesn't slow down your server or your website, but it can 99% put off those hackers who are going to try with brute force to get entry to your site. Now you've got to remember these people are around all day, every day, and they are basically running through millions and millions and millions of passwords every minute and variations of usernames until they can lock down on one that works. Now this little plugin that we're going to show you about, which you can download from the Inner Circle main page under the free plugins area, will stop brute force logins by limiting the amount of times an attempt can be made to try and log in. And after that it will lock you out and then lock you out for a certain length of time, and then we can also adjust the length of time that you're locked out after another attempt that you fail at. Now basically if the hackers come back over and over and find that this is still in place, they're basically going to go away and they're going to go and find another site that allows them easy access, someone that's got their door open. So adding this plugin is fantastic, and it really will make your website much more secure by locking down the admin login. So let's go ahead and get that plugin installed now. So what I'm going to do is go to plugins. Now once you've downloaded this plugin from our Inner Circle main page, go to plugins, go to add new, go to upload, browse to where the plugin is, and you can see our plugin here, limit login attempts. That's the name of the plugin. Open, install. Okay, let's activate that plugin. Now go down to your settings area and then scroll down in settings to limit login attempts, and this is the options page which we need to set up before this will work. So it's pretty straightforward really. Some of these options can be left at default and some of them you can ignore. Now here in the statistics it's going to show the total lockouts and the IP addresses of where the user came from that attempted to get into your site. What I will tell you is it won't log your IP address here. So when you log in yourself and fail, it doesn't log that address. It only logs other IP addresses. And we can see from here that this is our IP, and it uses that IP to detect that it's you, so it doesn't add the statistic here. So let's go down to the options. Now as default, when it's installed, it comes with 4 allowed retries. We think that's about right, so we're going to keep that as it is. 20 minutes to be locked out for, well, we think that's also probably about fair, so we're going to leave that at default too. Now this next setting, after 4 lockouts, increase the lockout time to 700 hours. Now you might find when you install this plugin that it says 24 hours here. Sometimes it says 24, sometimes it says 700. So when you look at your options page, it may say 24 here. If it does, then increase it to a much higher value. Now the reason why we say this is those bots that continue to attack your site through brute force will continue to try and get in probably over a 7-day period, every 24 hours or so, or 12 hours or so, twice, 4 times in every 24 hours. Now the higher the value we put here, the longer the length of time it is before they can get back in and try again. And that software is going to have been told to basically go away and leave the site alone if it can't get in after a certain length of time. So the higher the value you put here, the safer you will be. Okay, you can always change that later. You can always edit it to make it, refine it to how you want it, but we always put around 700 hours there. You can also leave this at default, 12 hours until retries are reset. That's fine there as it is as well. And the next setting down under site connection here, just leave direct connection ticked here, which is in the radio button. Just leave this one here as it is, and handle cookie logins to yes. Notify on lockout, IP address yes, and email the administrator after 4 lockouts. Now this is something you should also tick, because that means that as the administrator, whatever your email is set in your admin panel, you'll be sent an email address. You'll be sent an email to that email address each time there are 4 lockout attempts. So this is great because it's going to tell you when there is a brute force action going on. So make sure that's ticked too. Once you're happy with all this, basically change your settings. Now we need to test this is working, so let's go to log out. Now here's the account that we deleted earlier from the admin panel, which is being saved by our browser. So we know that this account doesn't exist anymore. So let's try logging in with this account. And there you go. You can see there's now an extra message being placed under the default message that WordPress would show you if you didn't log in correctly. And it now says 3 attempts remaining. So we basically know we've got 3 retries left before we're locked out. Now you're asking, probably like I was, what happens if I'm the administrator and I've had a really bad day and I've had a mental block and I really can't remember my login details, and you get this down to 1 attempt remaining, and you know that if you get it wrong again you are locked out. Now that would be the worst thing because you wouldn't want that to happen. So let's find out how we resolve this. It's actually very simple. Just go back to your file manager in cPanel. If you get down to 1 login attempt remaining, just go into cPanel, okay, go to WP content, go to plugins, find the plugin limit login attempts and rename it. So let's click on rename and basically add anything on the end. So we'll just add the number 1 on the end and rename it. Now that would have disabled the plugin in the WordPress admin panel. So let's now go back to our admin panel and let's try putting the admin details in again. And this time now we only see the default error message from WordPress, which means the plugin has been disabled, and you as the administrator can now make as many retries as you want to get access back into your admin panel. Once you're back into your admin panel and you've worked out what your password was, just simply go back to your file manager in cPanel and rename again the login limit login attempts plugin back to its original name, and that will now reactivate the plugin automatically in WordPress. So let's try again. And we can see now it's been reactivated again, and we've got 2 attempts remaining. So let's put our correct details in now. And log in. And there we go, we're back in our WordPress admin panel. So that basically wraps it up for helping you to secure more your WordPress websites. I hope that the information I've been able to share with you here has been helpful. If it has been helpful, check out below and leave us a Facebook comment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.